Canadians don't feel safe in their communities and on the streets. But the Liberal Justice Minister and Attorney General told Canadians this is just in Canadians' heads and that the increase in crime is empirically unlikely. But here are the facts, Madam Speaker. Violent crime is up 39%. Gang-related homicides are up over 100%. Violent gun crime has steadily increased every year and now over 100% since 2015. Murders are up 43%, the highest in 30 years. The crime wave that this government has caused isn't imaginary, it's real, and Canadians are experiencing it in every way. We continue to see news stories of violent crimes committed by repeat offenders who are out on bail. According to a report published last week by the Macdonald-Laurier Institute, violent crime is only getting worse, and Canada's Violent Crime Severity Index, which tracks changes in severity of violent crime, is at its highest level since 2007. During the last Conservative government, the Violent Crime Severity Index decreased by almost 25%. Under this Liberal government, it has increased by basically 30%. A recent Statistics Canada report shows that the rate of firearm-related violent crime in 2022 was at the highest level ever recorded, a nearly 10% increase from 2021 alone. According to Edmonton Police, the number of shootings in 2023 went up by 34%. After 8 years of this Prime Minister, Madam Speaker, Canadian businesses across the country are now being extorted by international gangsters. In January, Toronto Sun reported that the mayors of Brampton in Ontario and Surrey in British Columbia sent a letter to the Minister of Public Safety saying that they are deeply concerned for their communities due to these threats. Recent reports of their provinces have confirmed links between the extortion attempts and violent acts, including shootings and arson. Police are now investigating 27 related attempts to extortion series that have affected a number of members of the community in Edmonton region since October, including extortion, 15 arson cases, and 7 firearms offenses. Businesses and families are being shot at in Edmonton. Over a dozen homes that are under construction by different home builders have been burnt to the ground just since November. While the police are doing their job and catching these criminals, the Prime Minister's soft on crime legislation, such as Bill C-75, allows them to be released within hours of arrest. These reckless soft on crime policies only benefit the thieves and the criminals, Madam Speaker. In fact, it's only the criminals who are getting rich under this government. Liberal C-5 eliminates mandatory prison for serious crimes such as this. It allows them to serve their sentence in the comfort of their own home. This government has shown more concern for the criminals than defending our communities. They have eliminated mandatory prison time for criminals who commit robbery with a firearm, weapons trafficking, and drive-by shootings.
Questions and comments? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary, the Government House Leader.
Madam Speaker, let me quote a stat here, and this is back in 2007. The member made reference to 2007, and I quote, however, and we're talking about the province of Manitoba, however, the province's 2007 rate remained the highest in the country for the 11th straight year and was 24% higher than a decade ago. They're talking about Manitoba's automobile theft being the highest in the country. I remember being an MLA talking about the issue. I'll remind the member that it was Stephen Harper who was the Prime Minister back then. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately for people of Winnipeg, there's far too many victims. So at the end of the day, the member needs to recognize that in order to deal with an issue such as this, as we did back then, Madam Speaker, is there's an obligation to work with our other jurisdictions, provinces, law enforcement agencies, and to support where we can. Can the member indicate why it is Stephen Harper was such a disaster during that 2007-2008 on the issue of automobile theft in the province of Manitoba?
For Edmonton Millwoods.
Madam Speaker, the member wants to talk about stats. Here's some stats. Violent crime has been up by 39% since they've been in government for the last 8 years. Gang-related homicides are up 108%, Madam Speaker, since they've been in government. Madam Speaker, violent gun crime has increased. Murders are up. And yes, car thefts are also up, Madam Speaker, and it's not just about the cars. It's the fact that the insurance industry is saying it's costing them over $1 billion a year, which makes everybody's premiums more expensive, Madam Speaker. This government is just not worth the cost.